Howdy ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Oilers. So, shall we get started? Well, as I started last week, let's keep going with it. Let's make fun of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sounds like a good way to start for me. So, right off the bat, we got poor Austin Matthews realizing Taylor Swift is getting a ring before he does. Aw. Hey, I bet you Austin has the better purse collection, so he can keep his chin up on that one. Keeping with Austin Matthews. Yes, Austin Matthews is a goat, because when the playoffs come around, he freezes up and doesn't do shit, just like a metonic goat. Boston Bruins are just so brutal on him, but as I've said before, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And to finish off, we got good old Doc Brown and Marty McFly. Marty, I just came back from 2095. Leafs still haven't made the playoffs. Yeah. And I'm going to throw this doesn't have anything to do with the Leafs, but it made me chuckle. How to fix soccer. 1. The field is frickin' huge. Shrink it. 2. Too many players on the field. Limit to 3 forwards, 2 defenders, and a goalie. 3. Players should get to come in and out whenever they want. Don't stop the game. 4. Shrink the goal. And then number 5, put ice everywhere. Now, if there was a 6, I'm sure it would be put skates on the players, but, and I agree with this message 100%. Alrighty. So now we got the silliness out of the way. Usually I just do Oiler news, but when I spent 20 years in Ontario, and in my opinion, the worst GM I've seen come across the pipe in recent memory is Kyle Dubas. I'm not a Leaf fan, but even I said he destroyed that team. He made boneheaded move after boneheaded move after boneheaded move. So I wondered when he signed with Pittsburgh, what was going to happen. And well, we got the news yesterday. Poor outlook for Penguins as Sidney Crosby's future with club back in question. This is by Cam Lewis from Oilers Nation. Starting down another season with this version of the Pittsburgh Penguins has Sidney Crosby looking back on the good old days. It also has him navigating questions about a future with a club that's missed the playoffs in 3 straight seasons, and it's going to be 4 people. As long as Kyle Dubas is there, Pittsburgh's going nowhere. He is the absolute worst person to try to rebuild a team. I understand it, Crosby told Daily Faceoff when asked about the speculation he would leave the only NHL team he's ever played for. It's not something that you want to discuss. You'd rather be talking about who we're getting at the trade deadline or where we're at as far as are we number 1, 2, or 3 in the division. But it's one of those things that's a hard part about losing. Everybody thinks that losing is the buzzer goes, you lose the game, and that sucks. But there's so much more to that. It's a turnover. It's the unknown, the uncertainty, the question marks. That's the stuff that's tough. And when it makes you appreciate all those years that you were competing and going after the big acquisitions every single trade deadline. I don't think I took it for granted, but I definitely appreciate it that much more now. And you know what? He's 1,000% right. But what he's not saying is the GM they have and the president, because I believe Dubas is president and GM of that club, which is it's just mind-boggling how the Pittsburgh ownership ever allowed that. But with that GM and president, Pittsburgh's not getting better. They're not. Kyle Dubas is not a smart hockey guy. And there's just no other way to say it. He's not. I compare Kyle Dubas to Tony Khan, who runs a pro wrestling league called AEW. Tony Khan treats his wrestlers as action figures, and he books it like it's his own personal fantasy league. Well, that's how Kyle Dubas approaches hockey. Sorry, people, but that's just the God honest truth. Since winning back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2016 and 2017, that was not with Dubas, the Penguins have advanced out of the first round of the playoffs just once. Gee, that sounds like another team that Dubas ran, doesn't it? It was a second-round loss to the Washington Capitals in 2018 and a significant hurdle cleared by Alex Ovechkin on the path to his first Stanley Cup. The Penguins fell in the first round of the playoffs to the Islanders, Canadian Islanders again, and Rangers between 2019 and 2022, and are now out of contention picture in the Eastern Conference. They narrowly missed the playoffs in 2023 and 2024, but were 11 points shy of Montreal for the second wild card spot in 2025. Pittsburgh's getting worse, and they're getting worse with Kyle Dubas at the head of it. So, you can take whatever you want from that article. I'm not going to read the rest of it. You can go to Oiler Nation and read the rest of it. But you can take the rest of that article, and that's the take-home, people. As long as Kyle Dubas is the top decision maker of the Pittsburgh Penguins, their glory days are over. They're done. Simple as that. All right, another non-Oiler... Well, it might be an Oiler-related story, but NHL confirms investigation into Oilers' long-term IR usage has closed. No punishment will be handed out. Now, that's the right result, but there should have been no investigation. How do you do an investigation of the Oilers when Evander Kane sits out the entire year and was injured the year prior, but you don't do an investigation of Tampa or Florida when Matthew Tkachuk, he disappears for 3 weeks and is put on long-term injury reserve right at the trade deadline so they can get another high-priced player? No investigation there. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I get so tired of the Canada doesn't win a Stanley Cup because of Bettman nonsense. But, this one is so frickin' obvious. They don't investigate Vegas. They don't investigate Tampa. They don't investigate Florida. But Darnell Nurse misses the entire season and comes back for the playoffs, and they do an investigation of the Oilers. Come on, that is absolute BS. According to Daily Faceoff Matt Larkin, the NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly confirmed on Tuesday that the league's investigation into the Edmonton Oilers' use of long-term injury reserve has been closed and that the team won't be handed any punishment for wrongdoing. I would say we've closed the book on last season, Daly told Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic on Tuesday. And obviously we've done this every year, right? We look into the situations of players who are going to finish the season on LTIR and who might become available early in the playoff. Bullshit! There was no investigation into Vegas. There was no investigation into Tampa. There was no investigation into Florida. So no, Daly, you don't do this every year. Back in April, the Oilers were among the teams scrutinized by NHL for long-term injury reserve usage as the playoffs began. Evander Kane had been sidelined for the entirety of the regular season after undergoing multiple surgeries, then joined the team following Game 1. So, nice wording. He joined the team in Game 2. He missed Game 1 of their first-round series against the Kings. The winger scored 2 goals and 3 points in 5 games as Edmonton took down the Los Angeles in 6. He finished the playoffs with 6 goals and 12 points in 21 games. But he was gone for the entire season. The investigation continued even after the Oilers fell to the Florida Panthers of the Stanley Cup Final. Frank Saravelli reported that back in June that there were potential for retroactive punishment if the league finds the spirit of the CBA was violated by Edmonton using Kane in the playoffs, after not having him count against their salary cap during the regular season. What a load of frickin' crap. I'm sorry, that's just pure crap. Evander was one of many individuals we looked bullshit, and it was a close one. Like, Daly, you're full of shit. I'm not going to keep reading on. It's ridiculous. Could Evander been back before the playoffs? Probably. But he missed the entire frickin' season. Why was there no investigation into Keith Tkachuk? Or, no, not Keith. That's his father. Turtle Boy. Now I can't remember his name. Anyway, why was there no investigation into him? Why was there no investigation into Vegas? Who's done this 5, 6 years in a row now? Why was there no investigation into Tampa? Who did it? No, it was only the Oilers. And I call absolute bullshit on that. Matthew Savoie and Isaac Howard omitted from early top Calder Trophy favorites list. That makes perfect sense to me. I know Stauffer and Gregor and all of them like to say Howard and Savoie are going to be in our top 6. If they make the team, which I'm not convinced Savoie is going to, because he's the player who can go down without having, him and Howard actually both can go down without having to clear waivers. So unless they absolutely blow us away in the preseason, they're the logical ones to go down to make our number. So there's that. But also, I don't believe they'll be playing in the top 6 right off the bat. They will start on the 3rd and 4th line, and they'll have to work their way to the top 6 if they are kept on the parent club. And you don't get to the Calder Trophy playing on the 3rd and 4th line. They're not franchise players. They're not bona fide superstars. They're not. They are work in progresses. And I'm crossing my fingers that they do work out and have many great years with the Oilers, but you can't say they're going to. So, yeah, I'm not surprised they didn't make the top 10. I'm not going to read the top 10 because, let's face it, most of us have no clue who they're talking. I'm looking at some of the names. I don't know who these people are, and I follow hockey. But so I'm not going to go down that. I'm just talking about Savoie and Howard. They were omitted from the top 10 list, and I don't think that's a mistake, an error. Now, hopefully they make somebody eat crow. Hopefully they make me eat crow, and they win the Calder, one of them. But I don't see it happening. They'll start on, if they make the team, they'll start on the 2nd and 3rd, or the 3rd and 4th lines. And they'll have to work their way up. We'll see if they do it. Former Oiler Klim Kostin interested in returning to Edmonton. This is the place where I felt most comfortable. I loved Klim Kostin. But he was one of those players that he got offered more money. Oilers were offering less money and a shorter term. So he banked on himself. And it didn't really work out well for him. The 26-year-old Russian skater became an unrestricted free agent this summer after he was not extended a qualifying offer from the San Jose Sharks. Last season, he had a goal and 6 assists in 35 games played in California. Okay, he played 35 games, got 7 points, and played on the worst team in the league. I don't view Kostin as a top 9 player. To me, he is a 4th line player, and that's where you need to use him. So 1 goal, 6 assists is fine for a 4th line player if he delivers the goods on defensive play. He's got the toughness. We've seen that. So I would honestly love for the Oilers to offer him a PTO and see if he can make the team. There are offers Kostin shared. They talked about Los Angeles, where former Edmonton general manager Ken Holland works now. There are rumors that the Oilers might make an offer too. Of course, this is my dream. They say you can't step into the same river twice, but I would like to try my luck again. This is the place where I felt most comfortable and was myself. In Edmonton, the fans understand hockey. They see all the little things, he said. Even if you didn't score or make a mistake, but you gave it your all. They appreciate it. They were the ones who pushed you forward. I wanted to go out and die on the ice for these people, for their emotion. Of course, it would be great to help Connor, Leon, and the whole team win a cup, he said. they deserve it. And of course, bringing it to Penza would be interesting. But the most important thing for me now is not even the trophies. The most important thing is to get a chance to prove myself in the NHL in attack, to prove that I am not only a tough guy, but also a full-fledged forward. It's going to come down, like, I hope they give him a PTO, though I could see him going to Los Angeles with Holland. Holland seems to be cherry-picking ex-Oilers. And, you know, I think Holland would like Klim Kostin back. So that is possible, but I hope we give him a PTO. And, you know, it'll be league minimum, without a doubt. And I think he knows that because there's really no other offers out there other than, he says, Los Angeles or Oilers. But I think I would love to see him on the team. I really would. But you've heard me in the previous videos. I want us to get tougher. And I think our team is dangerously soft right now. So I have all the time in the world for Klim Kostin. And there is 3 goalies the Oilers could invite to training camp on a PTO. I'm not going to read the article. The 3 goalies they're suggesting are John Gibson. Let me say right off the bat, I am absolutely 1,000% against giving John Gibson a PTO. I don't want him as an Oiler. I don't think he has the goods anymore. I think he is injury prone. And when he was not injury prone and at the top of his game and rumors of him being moved, he blacklisted Edmonton. Said he wouldn't play here. So I don't want him. He's a cancer, as far as I'm concerned. Let him go play in Russia in the KHL. See how he does there. Second name on the list is Ilya Samsonov. Russian netminder Samsonov was selected 22nd overall in 2015 draft by the Washington Capitals. Kind of Freudian slip there. Before the 2024-25 season, Samsonov had served in a 1A, 1B tandem for the past 3 seasons. In 21-22, he posted an .896 save percentage and .302 goals against average in 44 games. The following season, Samsonov played for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, that's a kiss of death to any player. And had a great career, or year. Posted a .919 save percentage and .233 goals against average. Okay, now, yes, he did that. But the Atlantic Division is the weakest division in hockey. Maybe the Metropolitan, kind of a flip-flop. So the Leafs were like the 3rd best team of that division, but they got to beat up on a lot of really bad teams being in that conference. So I would temper your glee on those numbers. Although he had a 900 save percentage or sub 900 save percentage, Samsonov finished with a goal save above average. Expected, okay, I'm not even going to read that stat. That's a Bob Stauffer stat, and I think it's one of the stupidest analytic stats ever to be created. What the hell is a goal saved above expectation? Are you going to make the same amount of saves playing against San Jose as you would against Florida? No. So how do you it's ridiculous. Especially for a goalie who doesn't play every game. What teams did he play? Don't tell me the goals saved above average BS. Tell me the teams he played, and then I can decide what the average really should be. That stat drives me absolutely freaking crazy. It really does. Last season, with the defensively strong Vegas Golden Knights, Samsonov got off to a strong start, but ended the year with a .891 save percentage and .282 goals against average in 29 games. He's not playing a lot of games, if you're noticing. You know, he did 44, then he did... they didn't tell me what he did in Toronto, but he was splitting it there too. So then Vegas Knights, he did 29 games. He's not playing a lot of games per season. Now, I can't tell you if that was injury because I really don't follow those teams. You know, I mock the Leafs, but that's about it. I don't actually watch their games. And yeah, so I don't know. PTO, bring him in, see what he can do. Maybe if he can win out the backup spot, okay, on a a bottom of the basement. Like, I wouldn't pay him more than $750K, the minimum. You signed for a contract, 1 year, $750K. We'll talk next year if you can go above that. The third name is probably the one I would slight to, but it depends on the how much money we have. Alexander Georgiev is one of the first Bulgarian-born players in the National Hockey League, and he immediately found success in the New York Rangers organization once he came to North America. In his first five seasons, Georgiev had a .908 save percentage and a .294 goals against average. And that was actually when the East was a stronger conference. They're not anymore, but back then that's when. The netminder played the 2022-23 season with the Colorado Avalanche, becoming their full-time starter. He played an incredible 62 games. See what I was just saying about Samsonov? Very low number of games played. Finishing with a .918 save percentage and a .253 goals against average. Finishing 7th in the Vezina trophy voting. Now, that was for Colorado, and Colorado was they were such a powerhouse that you got to temper some of those stats. And this is why I said in the previous slide, show me who he played against. Don't tell me that stupid analytics stat of goals against expected average, blah, blah, blah. Although he was named an All-Star in 23-24, he finished with a much worse .897 save percentage and a .302 goals against average in 63 games played. The wheel completely fell off in 24-25, playing only 18 games with the Avalanche before being traded to the San Jose Sharks in a deal involving Mackenzie Blackwood. In 49 games, Georgiev finished with an .875 save percentage and a .371 goals against. Okay, now San Jose is the worst team in the league. So, of course, your goalie is going to have a high goals against average and a low save percentage. As I told you to temper the high numbers because of how good the team is, you got to temper the low numbers because of how bad that team was. In terms of goal, no, not reading that stat. They love that stat. I'm not reading it. Georgiev is 2 seasons removed from his excellent 22-23 season. But if the Oilers can get him back to that form somehow, that could solve the goaltending woes. And actually, they have a fourth name here. James Reimer. If the Oilers are to sign a goalie to a PTO, they'd be best split the crease evenly with Skinner, but more than likely serve as a backup. Thus, the question becomes, is the netminder better than Calvin Pickard? For James Reimer, there's a fair argument that he is. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not. He's played for some really bad teams, and look at Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall came into this league as a bona fide franchise player, and he played. I always liked Taylor Hall on the Oilers, and when he went to New Jersey in one of the worst trades ever in Oiler history, that first 2 seasons he played lights out. Then after that he started going to bat. Well, New Jersey got bad and his play started to stink. He went to Buffalo, and he went to Chicago, and it's just. And he's a franchise player, but his career just crashed big time. When you play consistently on bad teams, that starts to become your norm. And I think that's where Reimer is. And yeah, he had a high, but he's been playing bad teams since. And yeah, for me, it's Georgiev. That would be the one I took the risk on. All right. And to finish off today, Matthias Ekholm revealed his injury that kept him out during the Oilers' first 3 playoffs round. We all knew Matthias was injured. That was obvious. And even when he came back, he played maybe 50% of what he's really capable of. And unfortunately, Matthias at 50-60% is not good enough to cover up Bouchard's endless mistakes every night. And yeah, he couldn't get it done. So he came out and he said, I had a torn abductor. It's a tough injury when you're trying to skate. It was tough just because you're more out there to survive than maybe creating something or actually playing your game. The first couple of games, you're so mentally into it, and then after a couple of games, I wouldn't say you lose it, but it becomes more normal again. It was definitely a challenge that I've never had before in my career, but no excuse for it. I decided to play. I feel great. I feel a lot better. Nice to get some time off. Came here about 2.5 weeks ago. I've been skating, and yeah, I feel great. And that's him answering a question on how he feels now. So there we have it. We know what was affecting him, and that's a bitch of a injury. You know, and it's a testament to how tough he is that he came back and played even as well. Like, he was not at top form or even close to his top form. And I firmly believe Mattias Ekholm is our best defenseman, period. I don't care what they paid Bouchard. Mattias Ekholm is the number one defenseman of the Edmonton Oilers. And without him, it hurt us. It hurt us a big time. So anyway, so that's my Let's Talk Oilers video for this week. If you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Not only does it get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.